What's going on, football fans? Man, come on. How's that thing gonna do us like that?
I
Like,
know.
like you gonna put in this feature, but not take up the full daggum.
I think it's the layout. There's a layout called cinema layout.
Maybe I don't know. I guess I gotta dig into it some more. Anyway,
Yep.
all right. What's going on, John? It's a good day. It's a Tuesday. We're here, pound for pound, ATL live. I'm your host, Jr. Clark. Co-host Jonathan Older. StreamYard messing up my flow again.
Yep, it is.
Anyway, how's it going, brother?
It's going great, and the view is spectacular today. So when you wake up on a Tuesday and you look out at the view atop the NFC South, it is a
That's
beautiful
it.
thing.
That's it. Like just like the view behind us on the screen there, the sun is shining, um, looking like we had the Saints lose again last night,
Yep.
which was great to see. I hate like all joking aside, like I hate the fact that it looks like Derek Carr might miss a few games. Looks
Yeah.
like he had an oblique injury. I don't want to see nobody getting injured, even if they do um, play for the enemy. But either way, we do squarely sit on top of the NFC South after we had another like a heroic, come from behind style nail biter of a victory this past Thursday. What was your like overall thoughts of on the game? Was that like that was fun, man? We haven't had that kind of fun
Yeah.
watching a game in a minute.
Well, I mean, obviously, some of the fun is you came out on the right end of it, right? That same exact game, if things don't quite bounce the way that they do, and maybe we don't make some of the plays that we make, is it quite as fun? No, but I'll say this: like that is definitely one of those games where if we had come out on the short end of that stick, um, I probably still would have been like, that was a really fun game to watch. It was nerve wracking, but at the same time, like I would take that kind of game all the time over the stuff we had over the last few years. Like
Yeah, that
yes we were competitive in some of those games, but there were plenty of games where we were sticking close, but it just didn't feel like we really had a chance.
right.
You
These
know,
these
so,
three wins that we've had so far, even if the Eagles don't look like they're as good of a team as we maybe initially thought, have been against good teams, or at least when we faced them, good teams. Um, the Saints, yes, they had lost to the Eagles, but they had lost to them in a really close game. Um, so when you come off that win from the Saints, not scoring an offensive touchdown,
yeah,
and you're rolling into on a short week to play the Bucs, and you're like, man, I don't know, what I'm saying, like I still don't necessarily know what to expect, um, at this point from this team, but we're now like there isn't necessarily a quarter mark anymore
yeah,
because you have 17 games, but you're close to the like what I would call the quarter mark. And I actually think that what we have seen on the three wins is closer to what this team is actually going to be, which is encouraging and is exciting, at least for a week to week basis.
yeah. Well, and it's the what I like the thing that I like that I've seen is both from a player perspective and a coach's perspective, and that is I've seen you go start week one. Defense was kind of on point, but also you were playing up against the Steelers and their offense. Their offense hasn't like looked spectacular, but still like so the defense looked pretty good. Offense had work to do.
Mhm.
But what we've seen, yes, we had no offensive touchdowns last week uh, against the Saints, but we moved the ball. Like we moved the ball up and down the
Yeah.
field, and we uh, we did the things that we needed to do to win that game. But every single game, it feels like that offense has gotten just a little bit better. And
Right.
like I talked about in the lead up to this game, like I felt like we were this close. Now you might say, "Oh well, yeah, we had tons of passing yards, but the running game didn't kind of go whatever." But still, like I think Bijan still averaged a good average. He's probably the 30-yard run that he.
I mean, like he had 12 carries for 61 yards and averaged 5.1 yards a carry.
Yeah.
So like even in this, like the Bucs were going to be tough to run on. They have a very good stout defensive line.
Well, they got Vita Vea back, right?
Right. Yes, they got Vita Vea back. So that's going to help. But you were able to run for what 73 yards between the two, Bijan and Tyler. Like Tyler, this is probably his worst game so far.
Yeah.
He only averaged 2 yards a carry.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this was a game that you were able to absolutely carve them up in the middle of the field.
Oh yeah.
They were missing one of their better cover linebackers, and all they had was their like run stuffing linebacker. So
Yeah.
Willie Doc asked, he said, "Did you see Vita Vea run over Bijan?" Yes, I saw that.
Man.
I was
mean,
like, good attempt. There was no way Bijan was stopping Vita Vea.
No, but I like the fact that he didn't completely olay him.
No, he didn't completely.
He went out there to try to like he put his body in the front. Vita Vea was like, "Excuse me, little man," and then I'm gonna continue on this way.
That's right. I'm just gonna continue through. And I kind of on a rewatch, I think maybe last night or night before, I can't remember now. And when Vita Vea got his sack, I think it was Vita Vea. I think it was a sack.
Yeah, it was. It was
like he did that army crawl and then did I wonder if he's gonna get popped for that.
He'll probably get fined for it.
That's what I'm saying. Like I was just not that I think it shouldn't do it, but
Well, apparently Lattimore and another guy on the Saints for the game against us were fined like 14,000 for Lattimore and like 10,000 for the other guy. I can't remember who it was. Maybe
Alontae Taylor.
Yes, might have been those two. That I guess broke up a pass or something like that, and they did some violent gesture. And so
yeah, they're getting a little. Now, granted, I saw one in college over the weekend that was absolutely ridiculous. Like, dude, like sacked.
I think it's not a foul. I don't think it's a penalty in college.
It's not, but like he stood over the quarterback and was like doing like this, and I'm like, okay, that's a little much there, Kilroy. But
but that could be taunting. Like that's what that would be. That would be taunting, and that I think he actually did get flagged for that.
But then there was one, I can't remember what game it was on Sunday. The dude gets a good first down. And he just comes up and points like this. He didn't even do this. It was just, and they flagged him because I was like, okay, come on, guys. Like, let's use some discernment here. But all right. So let's get on to like everybody's favorite time.
Well, and just real quick, one other thing, like, yes, the question was like coming out of that game, like kind of how did I feel coming out of that game? We went up against like I think Tampa Bay is going to be a good team. I think they're going to hang around all season long.
Yes,
they're going to beat some other good teams. They're going to whatever. They're going to play well. Baker Mayfield looks really good. That defense is still really good. They're going to cause other people. They're going to cause lots. They may cause us problems when we see them again in like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But we went into that game. And we won that game despite a lot of the mistakes that we made. And if you look back at the last 3 years under Arthur Smith, at no time in that 3 years I can't think of one anyways. Did we ever have a game where we made those kind of mistakes? The pick at the end, like with that, I'll be completely honest. When that pick happened,
oh dude,
I thought the game was over.
Yep. Thought it was done. Absolutely thought it was done.
Because I wasn't sure if we could go down and score. Because I thought for sure, at bare minimum, they were going to get a field goal. and so that was going to force us to have to go down and get a touchdown. And without timeouts, I just wasn't sure if we could do it.
Mm-hmm.
But with that mistake, the Mooney drop, just there's all the offensive penalties. Like if that kind of game had happened last year or the year before, or hell, even when Matt Ryan was still here, we probably don't win that game because we just weren't a good enough team to overcome those kind of mistakes.
Right.
Seeing us go into this game, make those mistakes, essentially give the game away, but still be able to hold on, hang on, fight hard, and then figure out a way to win. That is an important step, and it just does nothing but build confidence. Like these guys just go into a game, and when they're in a tough situation, they're like, "We got this. We've done this before. We've been here.
Exactly.
No, we know we can do it."
It's something that we have said many times over, and we'll continue to say. Like winning cures all. Like
yes,
once you start winning, like it becomes a habit, and that's like you said, you then have past experiences to draw on. Like, hey man, we overcame a similar situation, and
yep.
Chris has an important question before we get to ballers and followers. He says, who y'all got in a fight, Sean Payton or Bo Nix?
Bo Nix gonna lay his ass out.
Hello. That was, man, like you talking about like winning and still like getting. Yeah, they got to figure out what they got going on over there. That's but that was comical. I thought that was a good quote or a good question.
Yep.
BTW says Pitts must have watched chat last week. There were some people in his chat last week that was talking bad on Pitts. Yeah, I mean at this point, like you're talking about up to that game, 4 games in, and like what was he? Now can he keep it going? Can he become
Yeah.
a constant, second or third option as far as, the passing concepts go? Will Colton says, I will be in Tampa for my first Falcons game. Well, be careful, man. Hopefully there's going to be a Tampa still there.
Yeah. Milton's coming through, so hunker down if you're down there.
Yeah, if you're down that way, definitely hunker down. All right, let's move on to everybody's favorite time of the show, ballers and fallers. Anyway, sorry. Willie Doc kicks us off as he always does. Appreciate that, Willie. He says, ballers, Captain Kirk. Fallers, D-line, too light in the butt. Honorable mention, Pitt, Drake, Hodge, and Mooney. Side-eye glance, special teams. Good Lord, yeah.
Yeah.
Blocked, missed field goals, and tackling. Yeah, that because when you look at it, when you talk about special teams, like I really felt like Baker had a really good night, and then when you look at it, they had under 200 yards passing.
Yep.
And really under 200 yards rushing, but they were just starting with such a short field almost every time they got the ball. So you don't have to go far when you're almost at the 50-yard line every time, or if not over the 50. So that's something that Marquand Manuel needs to really tighten up. All right, on to the show's fallers and ballers. Hold on, I think somebody else had thrown a faller and baller out there. I gotta see. I thought I saw it. Maybe I did. Oh well. Anyway, okay. So for our baller, I think everybody agrees on this one. You said it before I even showed you. So our baller going up, Kirk O'Chains, Captain Kirk. On the night that we honor Matt Ryan and put Matt Ryan in the Ring of Honor, Kirk Cousins goes out and breaks Matt Ryan's franchise single game passing with, I think it was previously 506.
503.
Gotcha.
Yep.
That
was the 300 yard game for Julio.
Right. Yeah, it was. Toby sent me like a little fun piece of trivia. Let me get to it. He sent me a thing that says, Matt Ryan's week 4 versus the Panthers in 2016 and Kirk Cousins week 5 last night. 503 for Julio Jones' 300-yard game. And then week 5, for Kirk. So that was yeah, exactly. So shout out Toby D. That's right. Shout out Toby D.
Absolutely.
And you're correct, Willie. I did mean Marquise Williams. I said Marquand Manuel. That's the old DC.
Yeah.
My bad on that one.
He might be the new DC out there and with the Jets.
Oh yeah, man. They 5 games in and you're gonna fire Saleh. If you're gonna fire him 5 games in, you should have just fired him at the end of last season.
Yeah.
Because that's ridiculous.
Yeah, you gotta give just like maybe some of us weren't always super like forgiving about it, but we had to give Kirk Cousins time for for him to get back on his feet,
Right.
shake off the rust, get super comfy with that Achilles. And the Jets, their offensive line hasn't been doing Rodgers any favors. That offensive line has been killing him.
Oh yeah, no, yeah,
Um,
it's bad.
but yeah,
So yeah, no, I think Kirk Cousins, Thursday night games are always wonky. You're coming off of 3 days of rest. Thankfully enough, we were the home team on this one because Thursday nights tend to, uh, favor the home team. So
yeah,
I was glad that we were at home on this one. But for him to come out on a Thursday night and throw for over 500 yards and 4 touchdowns, especially after coming off no offensive touchdowns the week, 3 days prior.
yeah.
That was a very impressive showing, and hopefully, it's a sign of things to come. I don't necessarily want Kirk Cousins throwing at what was 52 attempts. I think is what
58.
58 attempts. Yeah, that's
42 completions on 58 attempts.
right. That's not a sustainable model by any stretch
Nope.
of the imagination. But I'm really hoping, and once we get into the Carolina game, really hoping that they can lean on the run this coming week. Maybe back up off that passing. But it was still nice to see him be able to do it and perform that way. All right.
Yeah. The only other guy and I've changed my mind now. The only other guy that I might give a baller to, and that's just because of his story, and that's oh his name all just evaporated from my mind. A guy called touchdown to end the game.
Oh, Cordell Hodge.
Cordell Hodge, like just for him to come in cold, and twice he did that twice in the game.
Yep.
He came in for
Drake, because he's
Drake.
like, you're definitely seeing that he is like Drake's direct backup. Like when
Yeah.
Drake goes out, Hodge comes in and plays that role.
Yep.
And like Drake gets banged up, which was they said was like an ankle or something, not maybe not an ankle, but it was lower leg type deal. But then they also checked him for a concussion, which he was fine on the concussion part. Took a couple plays off, and Hodge comes in, makes a couple good plays to help him get down on field and score. And then in overtime, Drake takes that real hard hit in the side.
Yep.
And so he had to come out for a play, probably just to catch his breath, really. Probably had the wind knocked out of him. So he comes out, and then that's the play where, Hodge splits the difference, gets up to, I think, 19 or 20 miles an hour.
It was like 19 point something
right
miles an hour.
And, scores that touchdown on a route that even Kirk said this wasn't good against man coverage.
Yep. It was not really a man beater type of situation, but man, the ball placement was immaculate. Hodge didn't let him down, caught the ball, spun over, and I just thought he was going to run, to the middle of the field, might get a few extra yards past the first down, and then was going to get caught. The fact that he just flat out ran the rest. Now, granted, that defense been on the field a whole lot that day. This is I think this might be the first game of the season that we had time of possession.
I was going to bring that up because for the first time this whole season, we had the ball for 33 minutes where they had it for 27. Yep. So we won the time of possession game. We had a pretty decent third down efficiency, almost 50%. And then obviously 2 for 3 on fourth downs. So, and we had 28 first downs. So, yeah, I mean, by the time they hit that, yes, that defense was gassed.
Yeah.
And Hodge with fresh legs was able to provide that spark.
Yep. And he just split them, and like the three closest guys, like you watch him, and as he goes through, I was watching a Tampa Bay Bucs uh, guy who like a fan who did like live play by play and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. But he also like after the game he did like this video where he was just really upset about how things were going, and he or how things ended, and he kept like you know tried to say like Ray was holding, and then like tried to say like he dropped the ball too soon when he went into the end zone or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
just trying everything that he could think of to like just say that like we got screwed, and it was like no, you didn't get screwed. You got beat. You guys gave us an opportunity, and we took full advantage of that opportunity.
Right. And we were able to capitalize on it. And we were
Yep.
absolutely able to capitalize on it. All right. So the follower that I had now, I have a picture, but it's not necessarily that player. Okay. It's more just indicative of the group itself as a whole. And that was the D line. Uh, they got it together a little bit in the second half, but that first half, man, they definitely looked like they had been on the field too much through the first like 4 games or whatever.
Yeah.
They weren't tackling. Um, the defense as a whole just looked bad.
Yeah.
In the first half, like I think that they forgot that Mike Evans played for Tampa Bay in the first half. Um, you're just letting him just stand in the end zone by himself, basically. Had a
I
cup
mean,
of coffee.
it's the NFL bylines that every time he plays us, we have to spot him 2 touchdowns. We don't make up the rules. We're just trying to follow them, man.
Yeah, yeah, that was. Um, I mean, I felt like Tampa Bay was a better team than some people were giving them credit for. But up to that point, they hadn't really been able to run the ball, and we gave up 160 yards rushing.
I mean, we did, but like there were you had that big run by Rashad White, and I'm not trying to say like if you take away the big run was there, but if you take away the big run, like the rest of that game, like they're like they didn't run it like super crazily well on every other attempt. Like to the point where I think if you take that one out, they're maybe just a little bit over 100 yards. That one play that we gave up a ginormous chunk on the ground.
I will say that like I would be interested to see the statistical split from the first half to the second half. I know, I get it. We only gave up 6 points in the second half, so the
Mhm.
defense was able to, get their shit together and really like lock it down per se, and play more indicative of what we want to play. Plus, this game we were missing Troy Anderson, we were missing Nate Landman. You were out there with JT Bertrand, who is possibly going to be a good linebacker, but right now he's just a little too light in the britches.
Well,
And
he definitely he was another guy that like as we went through that game, you could see him getting more and more comfortable.
right,
But
right,
yeah, early on in that game, like he almost didn't make it out on a field goal or like extra point or field goal attempt or something like that. He was rushing out there, and they were like, "Rookie, get over there." He's like, "All right,"
right, yeah. So I mean, he was like he wasn't bad, and I actually think like because Chris says how about Rook? Like Rook finally got in the game. He was active over Contavia Street and played well, like and played the run well. Um, and I
Yeah,
think that showed up more in the second half. And now I hope that that's something that he can continue to, build, show that
yeah,
he can be trusted,
yeah.
and hopefully he can continue to build. But I thought as a whole, the defense made it just a little too easy in the first half. Like I said, they
Yeah,
tightened up in the second half, and I give them the credit where the credit was due. When I was trying to think of a faller, like that's just kind of what stuck in my head. Like, yes, I could kill or not kill, but we could have put up, Antonio Hamilton, who gave up the one touchdown to
two.
Sterling Shepard, or two
Well,
touchdowns,
well,
one
yeah,
to
you gave up one
Evans.
to Mike Evans, one to Shepard.
But that one to Shepard, dude, he was in good position. That
Yeah,
was just a almost like one of one throw. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
That was a perfect throw by Baker to
And,
Shepard.
and we've talked about it before. Like sometimes, whether it's the perfect defense, perfect throw, whatever. Sometimes like
Sometimes you're just
you do everything right and you still lose.
I mean, think about the touchdown to Mooney. The touchdown to Mooney, the first touchdown to Mooney. Heck, even both of them. But the first touchdown to Mooney, like Kirk throws that basically into triple coverage.
Yeah,
And he just threw it and before the cornerback could get his head around and
yeah.
get into position.
And
Like,
that was a frozen rope,
dude,
30 plus yards frozen rope.
I'll say this, like this game was the first game so far this year where I really felt like, and obviously you're gonna go, yeah, of course, because he threw for 509 yards, but like there was some zip and some velocity, and he was able to really drive the ball when he wanted to, and the placement was on a lot of those passes was in places where like he's leading the receiver like that second touchdown to Darnell Mooney on 4th and 3. He's bringing Mooney like back into the towards the middle of the field. Obviously,
Yep.
it wasn't in the middle of the field; it was on the edge. But he's bringing him back this way, which allowed Mooney to make that move to get into the end zone.
Well,
So,
so I'm eagerly awaiting. I haven't seen if he posted today or not. I'm eagerly waiting to see if QB School does a post on does a video on Kirk Cousins.
he
Uh,
did for his Patreon only. I don't know if it's going to.
oh,
I don't know if it's eventually going to. Sometimes it'll be
I have
initially
to look into his
Patreon.
Patreon.
Hey, I've like bought a month or two of it in like years past, and it's pretty good. Um, but let's see.
But no, but it wasn't necessarily him, but it was somebody else that was talking about that specific play that the 4th and 3, I think it was, and he throws it out to Mooney. Mooney makes the makes the cut back inside and scores a touchdown. And yeah, he was talking about like follow the ball.
Right,
So like if if that ball had been on the outside shoulder, then then at that point you just the quarterback's trying to lead you that way. But in this case, he threw it essentially behind him, forcing him to stop to catch the ball, and because of that, that led him to go back inside. So
right.
as long as he's following that ball, that he
Yeah,
supposed to do so.
completely agree because there was just a lot of really good throws by Cousins. Whether it was Kyle Pitts for 88 yards, they got him going early in the game. A lot of people have rightfully so pointed out that there was not necessarily like there was no big scheme change. It was the same type routes and same type combinations and same type of route concepts. It's just they executed it much better. Which should give you confidence in this offense as a whole. And when they can execute, properly, then this is the type of performance we can, hope to see. Now, the thing that bugged me a little bit is like but granted, it's to Tampa Bay and Todd Bowles and all that jazz. We gave up 4 sacks, which I would like to see that number come down, obviously.
Yeah, but on
Um,
almost 60 dropbacks,
right. Like, what do you really expect? You're giving a lot of opportunities for guys like Logan
yeah.
Hall and
So let's say you cut that in half. You go. Let's say that he threw it 30 times, completed 22, 23 of them for I don't know 250 yards and a couple touchdowns. And in that scenario, he maybe got sacked twice. Like that. That's not a bad day,
no,
right? That,
and Kirk.
but because that number looks like four, you're like, oh, but you got to take into account how many times he had to drop back and pass, and how many times they had to pass protect for him. And they were pretty spread out. It wasn't like he was getting beat up all, and like other than the sacks, he didn't. They got some pressure on him, but he wasn't like under assault, like the entire under siege the entire day.
No, he wasn't under siege. And yes, Nick, yes, our starting center was still out.
Uh-huh.
McGarry had come back, but you could definitely tell that he wasn't like 100%, obviously. I'm really hoping that these, 10 days off, and I'm hoping that, McGarry looks better, and, obviously more time for Ryan Newsel to get comfortable. We did good news there. We did, like, open up the practice window for Nate Landman, the 21 day. I don't know if he'll be back against Carolina, but they have 21 days to, I guess, decide if they're going to put him
Yeah.
back on 53. I think is how that works. Um, Bradley asked an interesting question. He said, "What do you guys think we will end up doing about the pass rush? Trade? Question mark. Signing Hassan Reddick sounds ridiculous considering his current holdout. I don't think Hassan Reddick is going to be the answer. Mainly because he wants a big contract. But I could see, if a team like, um, if Cleveland decides to go on a fire sale, getting somebody like Zadarius Smith would
Yeah.
be awesome. Obviously, everybody would immediately go to Myles Garrett, which would be amazing. But I don't see them doing that. But somebody
Well,
like, Zadarius Smith, or even, if the Bengals decide to move on from like Sam Hubbard, like one of those type guys to put next to or opposite of Judon, because at this junction, I I don't have much hope for Ebiketie being much more than, a 3-4 sack guy, more than just a role player.
yeah. Like man, I just so wish we had Trice out there still.
Oh well, yeah, yeah, and that's another reason why I don't think that they would go the route of Hassan Reddick. Like, if they make a move before the trade deadline, it's going to be for somebody who is probably on a year or two left of their deal, and like can immediately help. And because you did have Trice that you were feeling really good about. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Do you think they would make a move? I don't see them making one myself.
I don't think we're going to make a move. The I think your hope is that like kind of the same thing with the offense in that you learn as we get further into the season, you get better and better feel for like what guys are good at doing what and what guys are good at not doing these certain things and what have you. And um, well, I'll say like in the second half they were much more on the ball with pressures at least. Uh, it turned into the one sack from Onyemata, but like there were guys that were back there on Baker Mayfield quite a bit in the second half, making him either have to get rid of the ball, having him step up and scramble.
Mhm.
So it wasn't like the first half. and that's another thing that I've seen so far from this team is the propensity to like maybe not have the greatest first halves of games and then being able to turn it around, especially on defense. Being able to turn it around on defense and you maybe got gashed a bit in the first half on the run game, and then we look at the Saints game in the first half of that Saints game, Alvin Kamara and pretty much anybody they put back there was hitting us pretty hard. But you look at the second half of that Saints game, and the run game all of a sudden got stout.
Right.
They didn't get a whole lot in the second half, and the kind of the same thing here. Like the passing game was on its, they were on their way to being like scoring a whole bunch of points against us in that first half. And then you go to the second half, and like again, it's one of those things where every time I've watched somebody talk about this game, like the talking heads and all this other stuff, they talk about, and I'm not saying he was bad by any stretch of the imagination. They're like, man, it was such good QB play on both sides. And I'm like, yeah, but one dude did 500 yards, 42 completions on 58 attempts. The other guy was like 16 for like 23 or something like that. But and he had like 180 yards, which a good sizable chunk of that was in the first half. The second half, it didn't really have a whole lot of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked about it last week. I thought the what on defense, I think for the most part, especially in the second half, we did, and really in the first half, like we did the thing that I thought we needed to do on the defensive side, which was we needed to try to contain as best we can Mike Evans, and not and then because he's going to get his, but then don't let a guy like Godwin beat you. Don't let the Otten beat you.
Right.
Don't let those guys stack on top of whatever Evans is going to get. And I think Cade Otten, we heard his name kind of late in the game, but he had that one screen pass early in the game. Then he kind of didn't hear about
Yeah,
it.
he kind of like faded away. Like it
Yeah,
was really odd. Yeah, like Tony's saying, James Smith Williams. I felt like they put him in a little bit more in the second half, which was um bode well as far as like stopping the run. So I was trying to look at this like this bigger, more in-depth breakdown,
yep,
trying to see if I could figure out like on the fly here how many yards like they had rushing versus in the first half versus the second half. And I guess I'd have to know um how many daggum. Yeah, I don't know. I wish it would break it down by half,
I
but
actually, I actually think their running game maybe got a little bit better in the second half because I think maybe we tried to go after Baker a little bit more and maybe sacrifice some of the run integrity. That's why you had like the two back-to-back runs. One was like for 10, 11 yards, and then the other one was the Rashad White one that was 40 to 50 yards. Those were back-to-back. I think we were trying to get to Baker and not let him get comfort, try to get him off his spot. And I think we were kind of giving up some in the run game on that.
well, I mean, we like whether I could figure out whether what half it was broken down. I mean, we were giving up 6.2 yards per carry, on
Yeah.
in that game. So that's something that we have to, get better at, or tighten up. And I'm willing to chalk it up to hey, it was a Thursday night game against a division rival.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of games that can get wonky real quick. And so the fact that we were able to come out with a win is exactly what you want. Millie Mill says JB3 is the best free agent signing we've ever had. I don't know about ever had. The
I mean,
reason why I
top
say
three.
that, yeah, I mean he's definitely up there, but like Tony Gonzalez and John Abraham and Michael Turner, uh,
I
at
mean,
least
Mac.
for huh? Oh,
Mac.
Alex Mack, yeah. But I'll say this: he's definitely the best free agent signing of the Terry Fontenot era.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
like he'll probably go down as the best free agent signing of Terry Fontenot. Um,
Yep.
and I really wouldn't mind for them to like re-sign Justin Simmons, you know, because I've enjoyed that pairing.
Yep.
Willie Doc with another
Oh,
$5. We appreciate greatly, Willie.
appreciate it, Willie.
He says, think tank question. He says, remember when Raheem said they're building off of Arthur Smith's culture? Do you see any fruits of that? That this team is playing hard. I think the culture part, was the whether it played out well or not, there was a sense of accountability in the building, with Arthur Smith and the coaching staff. And then obviously the like mental toughness of the O line, as far as the zone scheme, you carry that kind of stuff over with the wanting. I know we think of zone schemes as being more finesse than a power scheme, but you're still as an O lineman imposing your will on the defense because
Mm-hmm.
you're getting up into the second level and trying to like decleat linebackers and like you're going hunting as an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Um, so that's still a very like tough minded way of running the ball.
Yep. To add to that, like, you know, you say what you want about Arthur Smith and offensive play calling and QB evaluation, and there's a whole number, and how he did his press conferences, and
Oh yeah, there's
yeah,
the
there's a whole host of things you can say. What I will say is, I don't think he ever lost the locker room.
nope.
I don't. I think his players really loved playing for him, and I think most weeks, whether it was a blowout or not, I think the team and sometimes maybe the execution, especially that second year, was probably one of the best coached looking teams I had seen up to that point. Even through the Dan Quinn era, even through the Mike Smith era, like that team barely had any penalties ever called on them.
Mm.
That team didn't make a lot of mistakes defensively. Sometimes they were just beat, but they didn't make a lot of mistakes defensively. They didn't make a lot of mistakes offensively. But the problem was, again, we were talking about it earlier. Like, they had such a small margin of error that any mistakes that were made were magnified and cost you games.
Right. That was the thing is Arthur Smith's game plan, and yes, like Steelers fans are complaining, now, obviously, but the Arthur Smith like thought process is I want to grind it out. Like
Yep.
grinding it out equals close games. Like his thought process and theory was grind it out and try to keep it close and you know win at the end, so to speak.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he was never able to build the defense here to do so. The defense in Pittsburgh like allowed them to go out to a 3-0 start or what have you. But yeah, you're gonna have games like that.
Yep.
Let's see. What was I fixing to? Millie says, JR, the self evaluation from game to game has been what I've been impressed with. They're making the adjustments needed to get better from it, and I really like that. I think for most part, I don't know if it's as much of adjustments as I see it as like just getting more comfortable, getting, having better execution and developing that chemistry.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell that Kirk trusts Mooney and trusts Drake. I had a stat like I could pull it up here and show you. That's something I was looking at because Darnell Mooney has really impressed me thus far. Because one thing you got to remember, this is only this man's fourth season. So he's not
Mhm.
like you know, he wasn't washed up, I guess is what I'm getting at. And so let's see if I can just pull out his career numbers here. Are you gonna work with me, or are you gonna?
Nope, not gonna work with you.
Of
They're gonna
course,
give you as hard time as it possibly can.
that you aren't wrong about. That you are not wrong. Let's see. This will be what I want. Okay. Okay. Go away. Y'all love listening to me talk to my computer. This is just showing me Atlanta. I want to see his whole flipping career. That's what I want. Bam. Okay. Here we go. This is Darnell Mooney, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can y'all see that good? Or do I need to blow it up and make it a little bit bigger? Let's see. Okay.
There you go.
That works a little better, right? So outside of the, 2000 or 2021, where he was pretty much the only target in Chicago, he in 5 games he's only about 80 yards or 80, 90 yards off of his pace for a whole year last year in Chicago.
Yep.
He's already like one more touchdown and he matches his career totals. 2 more touchdowns. And you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, it's amazing what, having an accurate quarterback will do for you. And same deal with like Drake London. People wanted to talk about, oh, he was a bust. Dude, he went for, career high 150, 155 or 154 yards and a touchdown. Like, I'm not trying to just dump on Justin Fields per se, but sometimes it's not always, the player's fault. We talk about that with QBs a lot, but it's not always the player's fault that their production looks the way it does.
Yep.
Like, you bring him here, and you saw he was visibly frustrated until about that that touchdown against Philly. That touchdown against Philly where he caught it and what about 30 something yards out, had a big run and had a touchdown flipped into the end zone.
Yep.
Like that was his version of when last year when Drake came up with his helmet off and in the Houston game and was going like, that was that flip, that switch flipping.
Yep.
And you saw that in Philly.
Yeah. And he's been kind of a man on a mission. Like him and Cousins have definitely gotten on the same page.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
Definitely. Even you look at last game, you could definitely see like he was the guy that if he didn't have it with anybody else, he was the guy that he had the most amount of trust in above everybody else. This game for Cousins felt like he basically unlocked that. I know my guy's going to be where he's going to be. I'm going to put it where he's supposed to be, and he's going to be there.
Right.
And he just let it rip. He didn't have the hesitation. He double pumped and double clutched a couple times here and there, but that a lot. It wasn't because like he didn't because he wasn't sure about it. It was because he looked at it and then maybe something changed immediately after he decided he was going to throw it. But yeah. That was a thing to behold on Thursday.
Let's see. Why can't I find Ray? Mick. There it is. The hyphen.
Yep, the hyphen gotcha.
All right, let's take a look at old Ray because Chris says now do Ray. All right, but Fred with $2, and we appreciate that tip, Fred.
Appreciate it, Fred.
He said, this is the Kirk Cousins we paid for, and we're using Pitts now. Yes, like, this is what you wanted to see. And like, for us as fans, it sucked that it took 5 games to see it, but this is what you were hoping for when you brought Kirk Cousins here.
Well, yeah, the best games from Matt Ryan over his career were always games where he got Tony Gonzalez involved early. Now, Tony Gonzalez may not have been the guy that had the most receptions that day, the most yards that day, the most touchdowns that day. But he would get him involved early, but he would also spread it around, and you'd have like 6 guys that were catching passes. How many times this year before this game did we look back at the passing game and you saw like 4 guys, 5 guys that were catching passes? You weren't spreading it around enough. Now you have a game like this, and now everybody knows like Ray's the a guy that you got to worry about. Cloud, Mooney's a guy. Pitts is, you got to worry about Pitts again. You got to worry about Drake. Like all these guys now, you got to worry about. And you can see like he'll go to any one of them, whoever's open.
Yeah, 100%. Sorry, slightly distracted. I will say like the concept of having an adult a real adult quarterback, like seeing it again after not seeing it for the past 2 seasons. I think I will say this, like in the Twitter spheres and the social media world, I've started to see people definitely like appreciate, Matt Ryan more than they did his last few years here. And,
Oh yeah.
Obviously, you don't miss him till he's gone, so to speak. But the fact that you have a guy who can actually process what's going on, make the right reads, get the ball to the right place. And it's something that you hope that, Pitts is not Pitts, but Penix is learning by being able to watch this. And so that when he does get in, it's not a drop off. Like, so looking at this dude, like he's 20 yards, heck, he's 30 yards away from his career best. That was in 2021 on 39 receptions. So 21 for 229. Like Ray McCloud has been a really nice, like safety valve guy who can get that separation, willing to come across the middle, and be that third down, move the chains kind of receiver. And I think once this offense really gets clicking and humming, he's going to be your like jet sweep guy. On more times than not. So I'm curious to see where this ends up.
Yeah, like looking at this, I'm like, man, this is like we're only 5 games in. I'm not saying he's gonna, I mean, he very well could. He could catch like 60 passes, but
well, see, this is what I kind of see as his role as Ray McCloud is like the Tutu Atwell.
Yep.
And yeah, so 400, 500 yards with a couple touchdowns, I think would be a perfect spot for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Like they need to, if they if they don't already, they need to make sure they have some plays that are designed for people to, have Drake going going out in a pattern, Mooney going out, Pitts going out, and Ray going out, but everything is designed to draw eyes away from Ray, and then let Cousins just chuck it up there and let him, out there and let him go run underneath it.
Yeah.
Like that, because we already saw this. I think it was the Philly game, where there was a pass that if it, he may not have had the time, if he had seen it, but at the end of the day, like if he had seen Ray was
cruising
off to the races.
Yep.
But yeah, and that was at a time where Kirk Cousins wasn't seeing things as clearly as he obviously saw them on Thursday. Hopefully that continues.
Right.
What I would like to see is I would actually like to see this get to the point where late in the third, maybe early fourth, you can pull Cousins and put Penix in and let him get his first NFL
Oh,
action.
I would love to see that. I would
Man,
absolutely love to see that because looking at like looking ahead now to the Panthers game. Obviously, they played the Bears, and Caleb Williams. This is his best game to date.
hmm
Um, and so what they passed for almost 300 yards, rushed for another 128. Now I've been seeing that Carolina's elevating this guy and signing they elevated Deshaun Williams from the practice squad, a D lineman. They signed Carl Lawson, or no? Did they sign Shaq Lawson? Hold on, let me find it. I just saw it. Shaq Lawson, Panthers signed pass rusher Shaq Lawson, but they signed him to the practice squad. So they're um, Fred wants to know why are we playing a division game at 4:25? Well, yet another, you know, not prime time, but I don't know, division game.
I'm down with it.
I would, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'd like to get back to the 1 o'clock games. That way I can be done with either the um, exaltation or heartbreak
Yeah.
earlier in a Sunday and move on. But um, but no, like the Panthers, I think we have as good of a defense as Chicago Bears. Maybe not as good as a pass rush they did, but they only sacked Dalton. No, they sacked Dalton 4 times.
Yep.
So Dalton came back down to earth a little bit, from his hot start that he had after they benched Bryce Young. Did you see that once this game kind of got out of hand, they put Bryce Young back in because they wanted to protect Andy Dalton?
Yep.
They are so
Yep.
done with Bryce Young. That dude is
Oh yeah.
there's
And
no there's
you saw,
no avenue back for him.
yeah. No, you saw some of the Panthers fans. Like, I guess he came in and like his first play, he scrambled out of a completely clean pocket. Scrambled out of a completely clean pocket and then threw downfield. It was a good throw. But he threw downfield, got a first down. But I think like, and they were like, Buddy steps in and does this, and, like, thinking he's back and all this other stuff. And some of the people below him were like, "And what about the next play or something like that? It was almost a pick." Like literally, the people are just falling over themselves, still trying to like say that he like if he's ever going to be a starter again in the NFL, it will not be in Carolina.
No, it won't be. There's you're never going to be able to. He's never going to be able to live up to the status of first overall pick, passing picking him over CJ Stroud, the amount of capital that they gave up for him. Like that's just he's never going to be able to do it. And not even 5 game or not even 2 games in, and they're benching him for Dalton. Which hey, they got to win, but that's all they've been able to do.
Well, he in the offseason, he needs to go talk to Sam Darnold because apparently, like Darnold has learned, one of the things he learned from stepping back and being a backup and getting benched and all that stuff, and having moved from to a couple teams since that time, is he's learned to appreciate and actually understand that it's not all about him. Like
mm,
when he comes in early on in his career, when he gets drafted, there's all the expectations. Like he has to perform, he has to do it. Everything's on him, at least in his mind, and he had to let that go.
right.
And now you see him out in Minnesota. It's like, well, they just drafted JJ McCarthy, but now that this guy is looking this good. I mean, I'm not saying you don't do anything with JJ McCarthy, but like Sam Darnold's looking this good. What do you do with McCarthy now? That's a good problem to have.
Right. And the deal is I think the biggest threat on offense to worry about is their running game,
Yeah.
with Chuba Hubbard. And outside of Xavier Leggett, they don't really have much of anything. And, you know, Like, I don't even know what a Jalen Coker is.
Nope.
And he had 4 receptions with 68 yards.
Like nothing about that offense. Like you said, maybe the running game, but we'll see if we get Landman back this week or next week. If we get Landman back this week and Troy Anderson, the running game doesn't really bother me as much. What I hope to see is maybe we can focus on stopping the run because they're probably going to want to do that.
Oh, yeah.
If we can focus on stopping the run, get them into long situations, and then blitz the ever living hell out of Andy Dalton.
Yeah. Millie says Deontay Johnson. Yeah, he's been okay. Like 2 receptions for 6 yards. And then Thielen might be back. I think Thielen is like, isn't he out for the season?
I don't know. I have not been paying attention.
I haven't either. Honestly, I ain't even going. I'm not even going to try to pretend. Let's see. See if I can find any information. Adam Thielen. I got a Thielen there for a little while. He was a fun.
Oh yeah.
I enjoyed watching Adam Thielen. Let's see. I don't see anything. Leggett's injured. Leggett has a.
Oh, so Adam Thielen suffered a hamstring injury. This was like 3 days ago. Hold on. Wait. 3 players: Joey Jewell, Shaq Thompson, and Andrew Rame missed today's game. Yeah, like I can't really find it. It looks like he's probably got a hamstring thing going on.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, he is. As far as like wide receivers go, he is as old as dirt. And his best football is behind him. But more importantly, if we pull this off, because this is a game that you could easily, like, as fans, we overlook and we're like immediately we're going to want to count it as a win. But as we've seen the past few years, we lost to Carolina up in Carolina last year, and they were worse. So, but if we come out of Carolina with a win and putting us like a 3-0, putting us up 3-0 on the NFC South, dude, that would be huge.
Yeah,
that would absolutely be an amazing like turn from the feeling that we had coming out of that Pittsburgh game.
Yeah, especially the Pittsburgh game.
Right, like like of course you win against Philly, you play well against Kansas City, and then you won the next. But when was the last time we won 3 games in a row? Like I can't remember, honestly.
I'm not even sure in the last couple of years we've how many times we won 2 games in a row.
Right. Yeah, won back-to-back games. Yeah. I'm not even 100% sure. To be completely honest with you, I'm not even 100% sure if Arthur Smith ever won back-to-back games.
Maybe in the Matt Ryan year.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Chris says, when was the last time we were 2 games over 500? Look, I distinctly remember making a video asking if they were allergic to 500. It's like it just seemed like we could never get there. Or if we did, we immediately went right back under 500.
Yep.
Willie's like last year. Last year we won the first 2 games. That's right.
That's right. We went
2-0. So you're correct. See that recency bias that how quickly things forget, people.
Yep. And then we lost 2 of the next 3, and we were 3-2 like we are now. But again, like you look at last year 3-2 versus this year 3-2, like the feelings. We'll see how it all plays out, but the feelings of this team at 3-2 right now.
Well, I mean, okay.
Better about this team right now
because like we're 5 games into the season, and every game but the first one, we've scored over 20 points. And this past game, we scored 36 points, which we didn't do. We didn't break 30 at all last year.
Nope.
Like at all. Not one single game did we break 30. So the fact that we had a quarterback throw for 4 touchdowns, like you very reminiscent to 2018, 2019. Oddly enough, before Arthur Smith got here.
Yep. Yeah, it's this game against Carolina, if nothing else, it's a division game.
That's right.
You never know with division games.
Division games get wonky.
Yeah.
The fact that they put us in 3 division games in a row is kind of dirty. Really.
It is.
If you really want to think about it.
Well, yeah, and then on top of that, you give us 3 division games in a row. Then we do a couple of games against other teams. Maybe not even that. Might only be one game, and then we go to Tampa Bay. So we get Tampa Bay out of the way fairly early in the season, as far as like the home and away with them. So they're going to look at that as like revenge game.
Oh yeah, I was talking to a Tampa Bay fan today at work, and he was already talking about October. What did he say? October the 27th?
20th?
Or hold on, 20th is against the Seahawks. So yeah, it goes Panthers, Seahawks, Buccaneers.
Okay.
And then Cowboys, and then Saints. So I mean, we're done with our division minus one more game against Carolina by early November.
Yep.
So I mean, yeah.
I mean, hey, if we got to go against Tampa Bay twice in a month, at least it's Kirktober that we get to do it.
That's right. At least it's Kirktober. Maybe we can ride that Kirktober wave and go down to Tampa and wear them out down there.
I mean,
that would be nice.
Yes. What I hope out of this game, like I said, is I want it. Every single game this year has been one score. It's been down to the wire. It's been nail biting. It's been anxiety inducing. It's been all those things. Let's just get one game where, in a game where we should pull, at bare minimum, a Chicago Bears style performance out of in against them, like that. I would like to see that kind of game where we get to the fourth quarter and we're just like, all right, let's just hope, let's hope for no injuries from here on out.
Right.
At that point,
I would love to be up enough to where we were able to put Penix in, legitimately. That would be super nice. I would love to see, by third quarter, up over 30 points, 3 or 4 touchdown lead, and able just to coast.
Yep. And Andy Dalton is a guy that will. Andy Dalton is a guy that will put it up and give you opportunities to take it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with Chris. I would love to see Dorless active this week. Let him get some reps. Love to see Root continue to build. Like, this is a game where you should be able to get some meaningful reps for your guys. So
the only negative I have for Root in this game was there was a pass play where they ran a stunt and Root looped inside, and when he got to the hole, the guy that was standing there was a running back, and he kind of got stymied by the running back. I'm like, come on, dude. You can't. You got to look at Vita Vea. Like that. That's the guy. That if you want to see like how you get through a running back as a defensive tackle / 3-4 defensive end, against a running back, that's what you do.
That's right.
He tried to hand fight him and kind of got stymied. It's like, no, you just bull rush that dude.
That's it. Completely. Let's see. John says, Andy better not put it up if he's smart. Nah, man, put it up. I'd love to see both Jesse and Justin come down with one.
Yep.
So, all right, folks, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. We pretty much hog-tied this thing and put it to rest. Glad, absolutely ecstatic to come away out of Thursday with a win. I dare say I expect a win against Carolina. Like I don't want to be like overly confident, but this is the first time I'm like, okay, we should win this game.
Yep.
Like it shouldn't be much of a game. We should win this one, and that's exactly what I'm hoping for.
Yep. With the I'll go into this kind of game with the thought process of this is a game we should win. This is a game we should win handily. But again, just like I said before, division game, trap game, whatever you want to call it. There's all and any given Sunday.
That's right. I mean the Giants. The Giants won against who the heck did they play?
Seattle.
Yeah.
In Seattle.
Right. So I don't know. But yes, we win.
Daniel Jones doesn't look like he completely sucks balls at playing quarterback, apparently.
Right. So we'll see. Yes, if we win, we'll try to put together a swag surf lesson. I don't even know what that is. I mean, I know, but I am not the swag surf kind of guy. Anyway.
Yeah, no.
All right, folks. As always, y'all can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Grimm1128, GRIMM1128. Jonathan.
At Jonathan M. Holder. Come by, say hi.
That's it. And like I said, hopefully we'll be back on Tuesday talking about a win. We'll be back on Tuesday regardless. And hopefully we're talking about a good win.
Absolutely.
All right, folks. Peace, as always. Rise up.
Peace, love, and chicken grease.
That's it.